became regional coordinator about a year ago. 9-ish months, something like that. The states in our region are, of course, this one, Wyoming, Colorado, Montana, Idaho, Utah, Washington, Oregon. Where's that? Come on. I know there's a couple.
Guam.
Yeah, Alaska, Hawaii, and Guam. We have a gigantic geographic region, and
So they're trying to have like one on a dog area, would that be you?
possibly, I'm not gonna do that.
Do they actually have judges involved?
Yes, there are 3 judges in Guam. There are 5 judges in Alaska. A dozen or so in Hawaii. So we have numbers. There are people. It is a U.S. territory.
Yes, but how is it going? Why are they
Because
using
it has- because it's a U.S. territory, it has to belong to the U.S. It was very invited. Because we didn't want Pro Tour. So yeah, part of my job is organizing things like this, or delegating a lot of that to people like Noel, who are crazy enough to take that on. There are a lot of those kind of things I deal with. I also help with education opportunities outside of this, helping people find people. You know, if somebody wants to get to level 2, I help them find a level 3 to work with, or some other level 2s to work with. If a level 0 is having trouble finding somebody, I kind of come up with the sector coordinators. If TOs and judges are not getting along, TOs and players are having problems, if there are other conduct issues of any kind, those come to my inbox. I get a lot of emails. That's what I just said. If I sum it all up, I get a lot of email. And do my best to reply to it and help everybody out. That's kind of a good way to sum all of this up. If you want to really look at the nitty-gritty, it's all on the blogs site. You go to the blogs.magicjudges.org. There is an official section there. Go into the spheres and you'll see the regional coordinators. Go into that and it'll tell you all about Christiana, who is the RC of RCs. She kind of coordinates us and kind of helps us come up with new initiatives and nifty things to kind of do. Exemplar is a good example of something that's come out of that. Leadership conferences have come out of that. Some of you have attended those. Even conferences in general are stuff that has come out of this. But mostly I answer emails. Lots of emails. And then I come out here and talk to you guys with no clue about what to actually say beyond what I just said. So, what do you guys want to know? What do you want to know about my job?
How do we take it?
I don't get one of those bad name badges.
That is the most asked question from GP Vegas. Everybody wants a name tag, and the answer is you become L2. Your name gets added to a spreadsheet automatically, and at some point those badges are printed by Wizards of the Coast. And then at some other point, those are shipped to me. At some other point. And then after they're shipped to me, I figure out ways to try and distribute them.
So once I level 2, it's okay to harass you?
No.
Email. It's all email.
Email is great. The answer to all of your questions about this is step 2 of this process has not happened. Name badges have been printed, they've not been sent to me. So I don't have any new ones yet. I don't have any of them. I don't know exactly. I just know that Andy has them. Yeah, there have been a couple of photos of like Andy sorting.
He does this all the time.
Yeah, so there are some that exist, and they're in the hands of WotC at the moment. Wizards of the Coast, if you're not familiar with that acronym. And sometime this year they'll get to me, I hope. When they do, I will bring them to GPs, I bring them to all the events that I go to. And if you're there, I'll hand them out. If I am somewhere close to where you live, I will hand them off to like a This one's you. Hand them off. They'll go to the sector coordinators where possible, or I'll give them to you directly. For places that are out of the way, like Alaska, I would probably end up just mailing those up. I'll pay for shipping and have it. That's tempting. CJ Crooks just did that. I should, if I had the badges, I could have sent them.
Get on a fishing trawler.
That's also a good idea. They're magnetic. Put it on the side of a boat. We'll send it up there. So that's the long-winded answer. Eventually, I will get the name tags. Until then, stop asking. I will certainly, if you're all in the Facebook group, the Northwest Facebook group, when I get the shipment, I will let you know that I've gotten that shipment. And then I get to sort through them probably by state, and then by event, and figure out a way to get them where they need to go. As for how to get my job, there are two ways. I guess there's really only one way.
Remove salt.
You either have to convince the existing RC to step down and turn the job over to you, or defeat them in one-on-one combat. It's fine, I don't fight, I just run away, which means I get to keep the shirt.
Sure is the power.
That's really all I wanted from the job anyway, it's just the shirt.
And all I got is this shirt.
Yes, that's my legacy right here. Any other questions? What do you guys want to know?
What are your goals between now and the next job?
To get the name tags out so people stop asking. That's the biggest thing. I want to start focusing on judge quality. We've had this expansion mode, I guess we could call it, for the last few years, because tournaments are getting bigger and there's more of them, and we're just stretched really thin. We're finally starting to get a place where we have enough judges to cover the events, and so it's time to kind of play catch up and trainer a little bit and make sure that judges are the best they can be.
Kind of go along with that, how do you see the new judge code of conduct affect the judging in the region?
I've had a few conduct issues come through my inbox, not very many.
Has it been a positive experience, positive direction for the program?
Overall, yes. Because there is, if you're not familiar with it, there's a form. The conduct committee has created a form where you can submit any kind of feedback, good or bad. Overwhelmingly, the emails that I get from this are positive. As an example, Chris Schaefer, who's not here, I just got 6 feedback emails from him, or about him, I should say. All of them were positive. Like, Chris is doing such a great job in Spokane. He's building the community. He's been a great leader. These kind of things. So people are recognizing. Like, they notice when you do a good job, and they're willing to tell people about it. So it's been very positive. Katie and Brooke, I've received some for them. I've received some about Noel, about Adina. Like, people are taking notice when you do good things. So keep it up. Like, that's, I mean, I can't always give you foils for it, but like, I get these emails and it is noticed. And when time comes around for things like Exemplar or other initiatives that I can do, I make notes and do what I can.
Are there metrics to determine whether I'm better than the other is?
No.
We have our own shirt.
I mean, we do. We have our own shirts, so do other regions. The only metrics that are really provided are judge numbers, which there's no way we can catch the Midwest.
Yeah.
Right? They're probably going to crack down some judges in the region this year.
It's insane.
But their region is also, 2 regions in one. So that's not a metric that I keep track of too much. I want to make sure that we have enough level 1s to run events in stores. Kind of a very long-term goal is to have guy, and Joe is now in that section. So we're getting there. I want to have a level 2 in all of the major areas. So those are the metrics I want to pay attention to. I want to make sure that we have enough coverage, get people doing what they want, make sure there's enough to go around so we don't burn out. PPTQs are becoming a threat. Right? Poor Eric does 4 to 6 a season. Some of you guys are you've lost all your Saturdays. I don't ever want people to feel obligated. You have to do these things. It should be fun. When it becomes a job, it's a little less fun. Anybody else?
What do you think the Magic community as a whole needs most in the near future?
As a whole, we need to kind of just talk to each other and get along. So, how many of you have heard me do head judge announcements? Like the 2 guys in the back that no one can see. Not you, Spellman, behind you. So as part of my head judge announcements, I always remind players to communicate with each other. It's how the game gets played. Like, it's also why we do it. Right? Like you don't sit down across from somebody to just stare at them for 40 minutes, do you?
I've been looking for that.
You're at a Magic tournament, Lee, so. Your life is gonna be yes. Occasionally it's fine, but like generally you want to play a game and interact with this person across from you. And if you're not talking to them, that gets less fun and kind of hard. So in general, we all need to just communicate better. Talk to people, talk to each other. You know, you may not know the guy sitting next to you. Like, you guys don't know each other, right? So chat once in a while. Find the people you don't know and just talk to them a little bit. Find out how their day went. It doesn't always have to be about Magic either. One of the things I do when team leading is I try and find out what somebody's goals are for the weekend, and then just find out about their life. So if you just take an interest in somebody, what do you do? Where do you live? How long have you been there? Where are you going to school? You know, how's school going? How's the family? These kind of things, they help us build connections in the community. Eric this morning brought up a great point that we start judging for a lot of different reasons, but we continue judging for the people. Right? That's why I still go to Grand Prix. That's why I go to Pro Tours and things like this. Like, I want to come and talk to people. I want to see my friends and hang out a little bit. If we do some Magic stuff in between, that's fine too. To answer your question. Yeah, awesome. What else we got?
I was just gonna say, if people knew about the example program, we could go from that, because I didn't know. I know it was announced, but I
Sure.
didn't know about it.
Sure, it doesn't, and it's hard to focus on it when it doesn't apply to you, right? Like, so the exemplar program is a way of distributing foils for recognition, basically. Like, hey Cody, you did an awesome job at that PTQ the other day. You know, you really handled that angry player and got him settled down. I was impressed by that. So you kind of write something like that in there, and it goes in as one of his several recognitions, I imagine. And at the end of this, these are, they're verified to make sure that it's not, you know, silliness. Like, hey Noel, way to put on your shoes this morning. We don't want those kind of things. So they're verified and then they're made public. So if you have not looked into this, you should go read some. One, it's good to see what everybody's doing. People are doing good deeds and a truly exemplary job all over the world. And so you can go read about it, like see what these awesome people are doing. And secondly, it gives you an idea of what to look for. Like, if you don't know what's exemplary, maybe browse some of the old ones and see if there's some behaviors that you can spot in your local community. And then so after these are all published, at some later date. I don't know how any of this happens. It's all magic to me. You're welcome. Foils are selected and mailed out to individuals that have received recognitions. It's kind of just thank you for doing this awesome thing that you did. Keep up the good work. So any level 2 or higher can enter exemplary notices. I don't know the exact numbers. I think it's for level 2s they get 1 for any, and then a level 1.
It just got updated.
Something like that. Yeah.
It just got out.
Every level is different. But go check it out. Even if you're only level 1 only, like it might give you a reason to get to level 2. Like, you can go recognize these awesome people you work with regularly. It's not a bad reason. So,
Also, if you don't have an exemplar and you notice something that's exemplary, feel free to tell, say, your regional coordinator or an L3 in the region that might have some extra exemplaries and might be willing to use one of those to recognize something that you've seen.
that is very true. I have an unwieldy number of exemplary slots, and I don't get to interact with everybody. So if you have somebody, shoot me an email.
Kind of along that, I know it'd be for another region, but what if we did interact with other region judges and had good things to say about those judges as well? Could we let somebody, say you or one of the other section coordinators know about that?
Absolutely.
In addition to reviews.
Yeah, reviews are great. You can let me know. You can let their RC know. Those things are all excellent. About, I don't know, a third of my exemplar recommendations last time were for people out of state or out of region. So it's not, you're not constrained to only review somebody that you know really well. It is, so as regional coordinator, I get a selection of slots to use for that, and those always go to people in my region. As level 3, I get a certain number as well, and those I will expand and go worldwide. That's kind of the delineation that I've made there. So if you have people, certainly send them my way. Send them Medina's way. Let us know. It's often the case that we just don't interact with enough people to fill everything. So, and you can always bug other regional coordinators as well. It doesn't just have to be me. Sure, yeah, Mr. No Fun himself. Yeah, we're right on top of the Southwest, so we interact with them a lot. You're gonna get guys from Nevada, we'll get people from California and Arizona on occasion. So if you see them doing good things, David Zimmer wants to hear about it. If you're not sure who he is or how to contact him, now you have his name. You can look him up at Judge Apps. There is also a form, also on the blog, the official blog site, where you can contact any regional coordinator and just fill in the form, and it does it all for you. Send us an email. I get a few of those a day.
Now, are recommendations for matching specific or things that reflect greatly on the judge's stuff?
The exemplary thing?
Yes.
Exemplar should be you noticing somebody doing something great. It doesn't always have to be magic specific, though it probably should relate somehow. If you squint and kind of look at it in a funny light. Helping somebody to cross the street may not be a great thing, but the guy that just left your store having trouble getting his car started. Wow, why not? That seems pretty awesome to me. Give him a ride to the gas station. Give somebody a ride home. Helping people is a fantastic thing. Hope that answered all the questions. What else?
Given your proximity to kind of wizards, are there any policy changes or rumblings that you are privy to that may be coming down the works that you can speak to us about that might be worth us knowing? Or
There's a policy update every 4 months, and you guys find out about it at exactly the same time I do. Toby publishes his blog. There are some things from Wizards itself going on that I can't talk about. But things are always changing, you know, events are always changing, policies are always changing. And, you know, so as things come up and are made official, I certainly communicate them out, usually via Facebook. So again, I'll plug the group. The Northwest group is the best way to get information from me or email.
What do you do in your real life?
See, I work for Western Governors University. It's an online school based out of Utah. I've been there for almost 9 years, and currently I am a software tester. So, what that effectively means is our engineers, our coders, if you will write up something usually geared around assessments. Testing is what I tend to focus on, and then I go through and make sure that it works both as intended and as likely to be used, which are not always the same thing. Once I run through some of that stuff, I sign off and we push it out to production, make sure it works there. And then once a month or so, I do a maintenance window where I stay up all night and make sure that the database comes back up and our website comes back up, everything still functions when it's done. That happened on Thursday. It was a reason.
What are we doing with roll colors and numbers at?
Laugh at him. That's what I always do.
Why hasn't Wizards have you fix the W?
The what?
Yeah.
Oh, Wizards Event Reporter. I have no input into that whatsoever. Yeah, certainly no. It's software that they are continually working on. Really? Or well, they're working on that is a debate. It is under construction constantly. It gets a lot of use. It gets a lot of feedback. The people that work on it do not always use the software because they're software guys. They don't come out and play Magic generally.
Right, so they need you to do it.
They don't. They really don't.
Did Word get any exemplar nominations?
Not that I'm aware of. Walter might have. I can tell you guys about a new GP software that's coming called Walter. It's going to replace DCI Reporter for bigger events. They've done some test runs for it. It's looking promising. There's still a few issues to work out, but Grand Prix should be moving to new software soon. I don't know exactly how soon. And for that, they do have qualified people on it. Like Chris Stevens is one of the testers. Nick Fong. For those of you that don't recognize those names, they are world-class scorekeepers. Meg, for instance, will be at Pro Tour Vancouver, scorekeeping the Pro Tour. She was just in Grand Prix Charlotte, scorekeeping one of the splits there. Nick Fong has score kept more events than I've been to, I think. So they are working diligently on getting these things fixed. Hopefully that answers most of your questions that I could answer. Who else wants to know something? Wow.
How many hours a week do you spend on your RCPs?
Far too many. Luckily, my job lets me be on a computer all day long, so that the jobs blend together. I've never actually thought about it in terms of hours, but it's probably 30-ish hours a week. And most of that is emails. Just answer emails, deal with various issues that come up. I guess on top of that, the verification committee. That needs some time, probably another 10 hours a week.
What was the most least enjoyable part about your experience so far?
The least enjoyable part is dealing with conduct issues. They're not really fun. So anytime those come in, I kind of sigh, get real sad for a minute, and try and think about something else for a minute, and then come back to it. They're not the best part is getting emails that tell me people are doing a good job. And letting me know that they are, really, like, a lot of you I won't see again for months, so I don't know how you're doing. I don't know how things are going. I don't know what you're doing. It's kind of good to hear about that stuff. Lee and I had a talk last year about it. I was like, Lee, what are you doing in Idaho? Like, what's going on there? You
Grow potatoes.
Right, you live in the middle of nowhere with rocks and potatoes. Hey, what are you doing? And you know, I'm like, let me know, send me an email and stuff. And a week later he did. It was very long and insightful, and glad he did it. Now I know what he's doing. It's good.
Why did you choose to become RC?
That implies that I chose this. Force is the wrong word. Coerce might be a better word.
Did you remember the blue shirt you got him?
Right. No, Ricky had to step down. He wanted to move on to other things, and as part of that process, when an RC steps down, they nominate their successor. And Ricky chose me. So then I went through what's kind of equivalent to a PEI. Dina knows what that is. Who else knows what that is? Cassidy. Wow. All right. A PEI is a pre-event interview. It is something that a level 3 candidate goes through prior to paneling. Basically, they are sent some questions, you fire back answers, and it's this tennis match over email where you hope to not embarrass yourself. And at the end of that, there was a committee of other RCs plus Andy Hecht from Wizards, and they voted whether or not I was qualified to have this job. I guess lucky for me and maybe you guys, they thought I was. I'll continue to do it until I get tired of that, I guess.
Do you play competitive level Magic?
Rarely. I played in a PPTQ last fall before I started judging them all. That was maybe the last free Saturday I had. When I can, I get out and play. I've done some Grand Prix trials, some PPTQs. I do still enjoy playing, but I don't really own cards. I should borrow a deck, which makes it even more fun when you do well, really. I grabbed this deck this morning. Aha!
How long have you been judging, and you recently had your 10-year thing that you saw the art?
Yes.
You want to go through some of that?
Sure. Yeah, I've been at this 10 years. 2005 was my official certification date. 2004 was my actual test date. Those of you that can do math realize there's a year gap in there because we're dating. Way back then, interviews were done in person and your tests were done in person, and then they had to be mailed in.
What's mail?
If those get lost, you're in the Navy, you know what mail is. So if you lose an exam or an interview, well, so, yeah, I went about a year worth of bugging Andy and saying, hey, what's going on with this? And then Andy coming to the guy that tested me, Chris Scanlon, saying, hey, what happened to this? And then I don't know how their interactions went. But a year later, Andy put in a review for me and said, you're level 1.